My name is Simon Arsenault, World and Quest Director, what is otherwise called level design. We work on the creation of the playground for the player, defining the landmarks, the variation of density or scale, so the experiences would be fun even outside of narrative or story context. On the quest side, we work more on the player's journey, also create a roller coaster of moments of tension and adrenaline, as well as discoveries and surprises. I'm proud of all the small inspirations, gameplay elements, and nostalgic feelings we're able to bring back into the game. I'm especially happy to put our own spin on tailing and disguised gameplay moments. Before we decided to set the game in Baghdad, I remember looking at historian maps and drawings of the round city and thinking, damn, this is an awesome city. It looks iconic, it looks fantastic. We have to pick it. It's going to be perfect for the game. And I'm glad we've been able to bring it to life with the right attention to detail it needed. I hope the players will have as much fun playing it as we had creating it.
I'm Annika. I'm a character concept artist. After reading a character's backstory, my job is to design them and the clothes they're gonna use, as well as the tools, instruments, and weapons. In AC Mirage, I created the main and supporting characters, as well as Basim's and his Igor and Kidu's cosmetic skins. 2 years ago, I was still a student, and this is my first job in the industry. If I had to choose one single thing that I'm most proud of, it would be my first important mission. That was designing Basim's hidden blade. I knew it was right when the artistic and technical part came together and really fit Basim.
I'm Marco, and I'm a senior game designer. As game designers, we basically shape the core experience of the game. So we design player abilities, the way the enemies behave, and the obstacles that you have to overcome in the game. Personally, I worked on polishing the stealth gameplay. That means basically working on the AIs, the way they can detect the player, how they react to their environment, how they investigate intruders. We wanted to push the stealth quality bar as high as we could, and to me it just felt great to have that kind of latitude. I was just blown away by the amount of love and anticipation people have shown for Mirage. I think the message really got through on how much this game is a love letter to the past AC games. I'm so glad people are just getting to play it. I know I have been waiting for a game like this for a while.
My name is Salomé Strapazon. I am Associate Art Director on Assassin's Creed Mirage in Ubisoft Bordeaux. My role was mostly to design the ambience, the feel and the crowd life for the different districts of Baghdad. We created different lighting ambiances and different environmental visual effects to really reinforce the variety and the liveliness of Baghdad. We also worked on the crowd for the city to represent the different thematic and different environment of the city. We had to pay attention to a lot of details, of like the ethnicities, the clothing, the languages, and of course the activities of the crowd. We also give a good representation for children, women and elderly across the game. So it was very exciting to recreate Baghdad.
I'm Stéphane Boudon. I am the creative director on Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I'm in charge of creating and communicating the global vision of the project, defining the core pillar of the game and its player experience. I also support my fellow directors and ensure the game is as high quality as possible. So during the development, I suddenly realized that some of the hidden ones you encounter in Alamut didn't have their ring finger cut. I raised the issue to the character team, they fixed it right away, and now every initiate in the game have their ring finger properly cut. It's a tiny but important detail for the most keen-eyed players. The thing I am the most proud of is the team spirit we succeed to create on Mirage. We overcame many challenges. It helped us to get to know each other better and made us stronger as a team.
I'm Fabien Salomon. I'm lead producer on AC Mirage. I'm in charge of managing and supporting the production team. That means supervising the resources, the quality and timing of the project overall. I'm also the main point of contact of all internal and external partners of the production teams, including our supporting studios. I'm proud to be part of the first French studio to ship an Assassin's Creed game, especially one dedicated to the history of the franchise with a back to the roots flavor. I feel very lucky to be part of this human adventure. I'm so proud of the Bordeaux teams and so grateful to all our co-dev partners who did an amazing job on this project.
Folks, this is a very exciting time for me. I'm joined by the stars of Assassin's Creed Mirage and the voices of Basim and Roshan, Lee Majdoub and Shohreh Aghdashloo, as well as Sarah Beaulieu, the narrative director of Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, I know Assassin's Creed fans were thrilled at the announcement of your casting, so I have to ask, and Lee, let's start with you. How were you first approached about this role, and what was your familiarity with Assassin's Creed?
Well, I mean, my familiarity, I'm very familiar. I'm a big gamer, played 1, 2, Brotherhood. And I remember being pulled into Assassin's Creed 1, especially, being in the Middle East and being a Middle Eastern person. And yeah, so really cool. As far as like how it came about, I was asked to read for it. And then through that process, met the team and kind of discussed the whole journey and what they were going for. And I was really excited from the very beginning, just to like.
It is pretty exciting.
Assassin's Creed, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it is, really cool. It is after all Assassin's Creed. Of course, I was familiar with it, but I didn't know it as much as I'm familiar with it today.
Right.
Well, we wanted you, Shohreh, as the voice of Roshan very early on. That was something we couldn't miss. So when you said yes, I think the whole team was thrilled. And hearing you the first time as Roshan was very powerful for us all, for sure. And I remember our first meeting talking about the pod and how much researches you did before, and how close you were to the character, and how passionate you were about that. It was very heartwarming for us. And as for Lee, well, he knows that he brought something to the character that I wished he would, which is the light that we wanted for Basim. Basim is a character from Valhalla. People may know him for his, dark path in Valhalla. But what we needed is someone who could bring the kindness and the light of the early Basim, from the beginning of the game until the end. And he brought that, and he brought his kindness. Yes, that's not a bad word. Actually, that's a great one.
Kindness is the right word. You're right for
exactly.
Basim. Yes.
It's the eyes.
No matter how tough.
It's the eyes.
It's the big, it's the deer eyes that I have.
God, yes.
Yeah, it really sucks people
Deer in
in.
the headlight.
You take a compliment like no problem.
Yeah, right.
I love it.
Thank you. Yes, I know. Yeah.
Shohreh, I want to ask you too. What does it mean to you to depict a character like Roshan in a setting like 9th century Baghdad?
I'm going to ask you a question. Who doesn't want, what kind of an actress does not want to lend her voice to a courageous woman who stand up for justice? Obviously, I was so proud. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for having me in this game. At the end of the day, us actors, we're storytellers. The story needs to connect to us. We need to feel like relative. And therefore, so we can realize that we can do a good job. And when I first read the story, I fell in love with it. It's an amazing, amazing story.
Thank you.
Rarely do you see like a strong Middle Eastern woman of an older age, be like the guiding light in a story.
Yeah.
I fell in love. As soon as I heard your voice, as soon as I heard your name was attached, I was like, okay, yeah, 100%, good job. And then I heard your voice for the first time, and I was like, oh,
and they let
it's just so
your
strong.
Voice in the studio.
And you were like, no, I don't like it.
And I was like, that sounds like Basim. It is Basim.
The day is new. There is work to be done. Derwish has left another contract.
Who for?
Your voice changes, right, throughout the course of the story, Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a discussion with the team. We had this conversation, and I had this idea of like, well, what if his voice also evolves as he evolves through, from starting out as a thief, and he's a little bit more cocksure and arrogant, and has a little bit more of that smirk on his face. So finding a lighter register because he's in a lighter time in his life.
You need something stolen? I am your man. Derwish can attest.
And then as he goes through a little bit more trauma and seeking out the hidden ones and joining the hidden ones, his experience kind of informs his, the depth in his voice. The way he breathes changes, and his efforts when he climbs change. And
when an actor like Lee brings a suggestion like that to the table, what does it what is your impression when an actor does that, and what does it bring to the character?
Well,
Especially when you have an actor like Lee that asks a lot of questions.
exactly. But I do love that. You know I do. But it's, actually, that's what you just said. It's being curious about the character, finding, tweaks and stuff that we could add to the characterization, actually. When you have actors that are so committed into finding little stuff like that, what makes a character is the details. And this kind of details is meaningful. So we do tell the story together. And what they brought to the characters actually is very meaningful to us as storytellers.
It was a very, very collaborative process. Like
it was indeed. Yes, every step.
And there's times like you'll work on a project and it's not very collaborative. They're very glued to like, okay, you say it this way, say this line, do it this way. We don't have a reason why. Do it as
The problem is they forget that this art is all about collaboration.
Right.
It's not about you, Sarah, or you. It's about us.
The story.
And therefore, it's first story and then us bringing it to life.
Yeah.
Therefore, all it takes is collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. I'm such a fool if I believe that it's all about me. Because if you don't shine, I won't shine.
Yes.
If you don't shine, I won't shine. And this one was the best example for me in terms of collaboration.
One of the best things I've ever worked on.
Yes.
That's great.
You are here in body, but are you here in mind and soul?
Roshan as a more mature character of Persian origin was someone that really resonated with you. Do you find parts of yourself in her character?
Oh my God, of course. We have a lot in common with Roshan. I never forget this. When I received the script and I started reading it, I noticed that there's a line about Roshan that says, Roshan is a representative of justice, diversities, ethnicities, and cultures. And I'm thinking, my God, of course, this is right up my alley. I may be able to do a good job with this one because I can identify with this female warrior a lot. I myself have gone through a lot and have been trying very hard to bring justice to our world, into our communities. And now I am portraying a woman. I'm lending my voice to a female warrior. When women are at work and are courageous, are courageous enough to stand for their basic rights, fight for justice, how delicious that is.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. And Lee, you were mentioning too, you found a personal connection to Basim as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, my journey with regards to when Mirage came into my life, Basim's story with regards to, seeking out, where does he belong in the world? He knows he's meant for something better. He's dealing with his own demons. He's suffering from nightmares. Is it sleep paralysis? Is it mental health? Is it anxiety? All of these things. And, Middle Eastern, Arabic speaking. And I remember a part of my life, in my late teens and early to mid 20s, I struggled a lot with my identity around being a Middle Eastern person, male, with regards to prejudices and everything. So I kind of shunned that part of my life for a very long time, and that identity. Didn't want to speak the language anymore, didn't want to tell people I was Lebanese, didn't want to tell them I was Middle Eastern. And so a big part of finding myself again has been finding that love of the history and where I come from. And I remember about 7 months before Mirage came, I reached out to my mom and I was like, Mama, I want to learn the language again. And so we just started spending 3-4 days a week. She would send me some Arabic. She's try to figure it out. We'll figure it out together. And 7 months into doing that, Mirage comes across and they're one of the questions is, can you speak Arabic? And I was like, I can read, I can speak, I can, and then Mom was involved too with helping me kind of decipher some of the language as well, because context was everything, and it's old Arabic, which is very different from the Lebanese dialect. But yeah, so it came at a time in my life where it was refinding that identity that, I loved when I was a child, and then grew to have resentment and self-loathing around a little bit, and now finding that love again and being able to, voice this guy that's trying to find that. It was really, really, really cool.
And to embrace your heritage.
That's the thing too. I mean, this whole game is about.
For me, it did it.
That's this whole
I should
game.
be proud of my heritage.
Of course.
Yeah.
It does embraces the whole history of the Middle East that I think a lot of us don't know about. Like, I didn't know that Baghdad was such a hub, especially in the 9th century, and it was like multicultural and multilingual and multi-religious and collaborative and trade and like. I was like, oh, no wonder, like, my genealogy is so mixed. Like, you know, historic, like, we're all from everywhere, especially in that area. And I was like, right.
Could listen to these two talk about their characters
me
all
too.
day.
Like, yeah.
But I have a final question for you, because obviously you wrote the characters of Basim and Roshan before you cast Lee and Shohreh. How did they evolve as characters after the casting and after the performances came through?
Everybody, and myself included, put something into Basim that is very personal to us. Whether it's the trauma, whether it's the sleep paralysis, or, you know, different stuff on his outfit, for example. But the fact that you found something, you brought something that was personal to you, and it was reassuring seeing you, you know, being so invested in the character, because we always fear that what we write is too personal, so that people won't connect with it, because that's too. But what we tell when we tell stories, we tell something about universal feelings, what it is to be a human, and the fact that you brought that and you were so into it right away, it was very reassuring, and it helps us writing, you know, furthermore about the character. So. Yeah, you brought your light and everything, and that was amazing. And about you, Shohreh, I mean, what can I say? It's
Shohreh.
It was like, yeah, you brought obviously your voice has a natural power. So when you did the first lines in the recording session, I remember everyone was, you know, we were impressed, and you brought the charisma, obviously, to the character right away. I mean, just with your voice, which is, you know, amazing to watch and to witness, and it's really much like a, you know, like a Frankenstein movie when you hear the actors, you know, saying the line for the first time. It's like, okay, it's alive.
Right.
The character is alive. You know, it's and it's always powerful as a moment for us as you know, writers, narrative designers, whatever, voice designers. Everybody was amazed.
Are you ready to leave your life behind?
About your voice, I mean, I remember seeing the trailer reveal. And when you say my name, what's my name?
Basim ibn Ishaq.
Like I remember chills.
I love
Chills.
saying that.
Hearing
I love
that,
saying that.
like I've heard her voice, you know, as we're recording and everything, but that trailer reveal with that opening, I immediately was like, just in hearing that, I was like, okay, this woman, this character, has gone through a lot.
Yes.
And is coming through a lot of experience. Like, you hear that, just
that,
in those three words, she's saying Basim's name.
Yes.
And already you know it's coming from someone that is a master. I don't know what the point of me saying that is. It's just like to say that, like, you hear that and you feel, at least I felt it immediately without needing to know much about anything about the character. I was like, all right, I get it.
The minute Roshan sees Basim, she knows that Basim has all the characteristics, all those ingredients to become an amazing hidden one who can stand for justice. And obviously this woman who's been through a lot, as you were mentioning rightfully, has gained lots of experience that has led her to become wise, pretty wise. And she's looking for the right person, the next king, or you know, that she can just relay whatever she's learned
Pass the torch
throughout her life, relay to this young man, and so the saga can continue.
You have me way more excited than I was even at the beginning of this interview to play this game.
We've done our job.
Shohreh, Lee, Sarah, thank you
Yusuf,
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and a huge thank you to Ubisoft.
Yeah.
For
course.
this.
Thank you
100%,
to
thank
you
you.
two for bringing so much to the project. Thank you
Thank you, Sarah.
for being magical.
So exciting. So exciting. I'm so excited. Just as a fan too, I'm just like, I can't wait. I can't wait to play this
October
game.
5th can't come soon enough.
I know. It's got to happen. It's going to happen soon. It's going to happen soon.
Yes.
Soon. I'm okay. I can breathe.
How many hours do we have?
We're counting down for sure. We're counting down for sure.
Assassin's Creed Mirage is set in 9th century Baghdad, at a time when the city had grown to become one of the biggest, richest, and most advanced in the world. The Abbasid Empire, the largest of its time, reached from modern Algeria to present-day India. It's also a time of scientific discovery that left a strong impact on our modern cultures.
We started our research on Baghdad very early on, and the more we learned, the clearer it became that this city was a perfect setting for our game. At the time, Baghdad was the center of the world, a vibrant, lively city, and one that would make the perfect playground for the aspiring assassins. Rebuilding Baghdad was not going to be an easy task though. Unlike previous Assassin's Creed games, almost nothing from the time period has survived to the present day. But we still wanted to be sure to do everything we could to be respectful of the culture and history of the city. That's the Assassin's Creed way.
We had to give our art team the freedom to recreate Baghdad from scratch with nothing but the historical information we had from the time period. Like Guy Lestrange's books, Baghdad during the Abbasid Caliphate, but also description by medieval travelers, archaeological findings from neighboring cities, and other buildings from the time that are still standing.
But we weren't alone on this journey. We worked with experts, like Dr. Claire Anderson, specialist in Islamic art and history during the Caliphal period, who helped us with the world art, or Dr. Raphael Whalen, Ubisoft Montreal historian.
9th century Baghdad is a lost city, a city that we reconstructed using text and archaeology. From this material, the team created 4 major districts, defining the city, each with distinct looks and crowds. Abbasiyeh is the cultural hub of Baghdad, where you can find the House of Wisdom. This is where scholars, philosophers, scientists, and astronomers gather and transmit knowledge from the entire empire and beyond. The market district of Kah, where large crowds gather to do business, bargain, or trade goods from China, Constantinople, and Spain. The industrial district of Arbiyeh is a dense, grimy part of the city, where slavers, orphans, thugs, and workers try to scrape a living. And finally, at the center of it all, we have the seat of power in the region, the iconic round city, also known at the time as Madinat al-Salam, the city of peace. Behind its walls lie lush gardens, fountains, and a magnificent Caliphal palace.
I saw Baghdad as a child without ever going back. So seeing the city come together from its first white blocks to the final assets was an unforgettable experience. I remember having chills the day we added the correct lighting. Seeing the sky, the dust in the atmosphere, the sun and shadows.
From dusk to dawn, we put a great care into making each hour of the day feel distinct so we could really immerse players in the world. And if you pay attention, you can even hear the adhan, the Muslim call to prayer as you approach a mosque.
We're not just exploring a new setting in the Assassin's Creed universe, we're also going to give players the chance to meet some of the key figures in Baghdad at the time. Authenticity and accuracy are always important to us whenever we deal with real-life historical characters, and it's no different in Mirage. We have the Banu Musa, genius inventors of the era, who made massive contributions to the science of mechanics. Of course, in Mirage, they'll be putting that knowledge to use to help Basim and the Hidden Ones.
When most players think of Baghdad, they imagine the dusty, ruined landscape from movies and first-person shooters. But we felt it was important to show a different side to the city, one that celebrated its proud cultural heritage.
The Tales of Baghdad are short, narrative side quests, touching on key cultural subjects from the time period, like astronomy or literature. We also created the History of Baghdad feature, designed as a throwback to the original codex from the first Assassin's Creed games. Players will have a chance to explore the game world, to learn more about the people, landmarks, and events essential to Baghdad's history. It felt important to share the historical knowledge that went into the making of the game and to accompany the player in their discovery of the city. We crafted the content with historians and local experts to help tackle some common cliches about the region and its culture.
we're recreating the bustling, urban feel of the original games. We have larger crowds in Mirage, which offer more opportunities to blend in at street level, especially in dense areas like markets. With Baghdad being home to multiple religions and cultures, you'll see the diversity in clothes, languages, and iconography.
Baghdad is not the only location you'll be able to explore in the game. We have a great diversity of biomes around the city, each with their own unique look and feel. And of course, we have the home base of the Assassins, set at the bottom of the fortress of Alamut, a unique location in our lore and one we can't wait for players to discover.
When we first announced the game, we had so many enthusiastic reactions from players all around the world, particularly players from the Arabic world, and with Arabic heritage, which made us especially proud.
We can't wait for you to explore the beautiful world we have recreated when you join Basim on his upcoming adventure. Basim is our main protagonist in Assassin's Creed Mirage. He's a fascinating character, one that fits the mold of classic assassin, deadly and resourceful with a complex personality. For that reason, we felt that Mirage needed to be a strong narrative-driven experience. One that would honor Basim as a character, surprise our players, and take them on a memorable adventure. We first met Basim during the events of AC Valhalla. Having traveled from the Middle East to England, he acted as a mentor figure for Ivor. But Basim had motives of his own, and his past was shrouded in mystery.
We knew early on that we wanted to explore a setting that was reminiscent of the first Assassin's Creed game. So naturally, we made the connection between the Golden Age of Baghdad and Basim. It was a great opportunity to show some of the events that came to define him as a person. Mirage is a completely fresh story. You can start the game without having played Valhalla or any of the other titles. But of course, for our most dedicated fan, there will be a lot of secrets, Easter eggs, and connections with past games and the overall lore of the series.
Assassin's Creed Mirage is set in 861 AD, 12 years before the events of Valhalla. We meet Basim in his youth, making a living as a thief on the streets of Anbar, near Baghdad, alongside his best friend and partner in crime, Nehal. As far back as he can remember, Basim has been haunted by visions and nightmares that he's been unable to understand. He's come to question who he is and where he belongs. Much to Nehal's frustration, Basim believes his destiny lies among the hidden ones.
Basim ends up at Alamut, the renowned assassin home base that at that time was still under construction. It's here that he learns the way of the assassins and becomes one of the hidden ones. Soon, he's tasked with tracking down the Order in Baghdad, kickstarting his life-changing journey.
Creating the character of Basim in Mirage was an interesting challenge. Having met him as an older man in Valhalla, we had to imagine what he would have been like in his younger years. Everybody in the team is a long-time AC fan. That's why it was so important for us to bring back that Levantine assassin look to Basim's costumes.
Crafting new visuals and stories around an existing character poses a unique challenge. It gives us room for nods to other entries in the series, pushes us to respect our legacy, while offering something fresh and exciting for our players. After becoming a hidden one, Basim inherits the apprentice outfit, a white robe with blue shades, and a small beaked hood. We found opportunities to connect Mirage to the wider franchise, such as the red sash wrapped around Basim's arm in Valhalla. In Mirage, we learned that it was a symbol of the rebellion, an item worn by many of our side characters, and something Basim chose to keep with him years later.
There are several levels of conflicts in our story, from the one in the city arising from the Zend rebellion to Basim's internal conflict as he's torn between his roots and his destiny, between his old friends like Nehal and his new comrades like Roshan and the Brotherhood. As Basim fights to free Baghdad from the Order's oppression, he begins to ask questions about himself, his past, and the meaning of freedom.
The story of Mirage follows Basim's evolution from apprentice to mentor, a journey that is reflected in the game systems. There is no XP-based progression in Mirage, instead, progression is linear and story-driven. As you follow the story and complete missions, your rank increases within the Brotherhood, giving you new opportunities for missions, outfits, and tools. We have new tools that can be upgraded and customized for Basim, giving him a deadly and effective assassin's toolset. When fully upgraded, these tools can allow for some interesting and unexpected gameplay strategies. We crafted a range of different outfits for Basim, so you can make the character feel personal to you. We're also bringing back a fan favorite feature, outfit dye, which you can use to change the colors of certain outfits just like you could in AC2 or Brotherhood. Combat has been revamped as well, with new moves and mechanics built specifically for Basim. Much like Altair, Basim's primary combat tools are his sword and dagger. For the animation team, our goal was to create an agile master assassin who's as elegant as he's deadly.
An assassin focus allows you to slow down time and perform a deadly kill streak. But be careful, you'll want to pay attention to where you will end your last move to avoid unexpected fights.
Basim feels different from Eivor. The focus on one main weapon, his sword, allowed us to put all of our intention into developing an agile character who's intuitive to control. Of course, that also means that the combat will come with bigger challenges, higher stakes, and a greater reliance on tools to escape tricky situations.
From his story to his appearance to character progression, we designed Basim as a fresh twist on the classic assassin archetype.
We hope you are as excited as we are to take the first steps on Basim's journey.
When we got the opportunity to work on the next game of the series, we sat down with the rest of the core team and asked ourselves, as fans, what kind of Assassin's Creed game we'd most want to play.
Many of us felt the desire to revisit some of the old imagery, narrative theme and gameplays that made us fall in love with the series.
After 15 years of journeys across the ages, from the Third Crusade with Altair to the Viking expansions with Eivor, we wanted to go back closely to where it all began and pay homage to the beginnings of Assassin's Creed.
Coming off Valhalla, we started to explore the idea of introducing a new playable hero, Basim, and creating an experience that is a love letter to the origins of the franchise. Coming-of-age story with revamped mechanics to bring the feel of the early games into the modern day.
We are going back to the Middle East, but this time in 9th century Baghdad. 300 years before the time of Altair, we are telling the story of Basim and how he became a master assassin.
We looked at the first AC games and started to wonder what exactly defined the assassin experience to us. And from there, we put all our effort into bringing our take on the assassin fantasy. As a hidden one, parkour is a key pillar to the experience. With Baghdad as your playground, we are bringing the action back to a urban environment.
For parkour, we look to our previous games for inspiration and chose to put the emphasis on comfort and fluidity. In Mirage, parkour is easy to learn and to master. Our approach is closer to the Ezio games, where it's all about keeping the flow and the momentum going, with the design centered around verticality. Many elements from past games are making a return. We have the corner swing, the ability to vault over objects, elevators to quickly reach high ground, but also new ingredients, such as the pole vault, allowing you to cross large gaps between two rooftops. Of course, Basim is faster and more agile than Eivor was, and to give that feeling, we reworked our animations to reinforce the sense of speed when jumping, vaulting, and free roaming.
Streets are narrower, denser, and packed with obstacles to navigate. By choosing the right path through the environment, you can move from street level to the rooftops in a blink of an eye, a useful skill for any assassin.
Another core focus of Mirage is stealth. We want players to work in the shadows, plan their next move, strike, and then vanish. There are more ways to assassinate, with new killing animations, some leveraging a stealthy approach, others delivering a violent killing blow. We also have direct throwbacks to the first games with moves like the bench assassination that you might recognize from AC2, or the kill from the rooftop gardens, an old favorite of Altair's.
We want to encourage you to be sneaky. Basim has been trained to fight by the hidden ones, but for him, combat is a last resort and his main approach is to hunt and strike while remaining unnoticed.
We also reworked our enemy AI to improve detection and vanishing loops, making our behaviors more responsive and readable. New enemy archetypes will also increase the stakes. The marksman can shoot your eagle and prevent you from using it. The spearman pokes through haystacks, and Hornbearer can call for reinforcements. That's where your assassin skills come in handy.
During his training in Alamut, Basim learns the ways of the Creed from his mentor, Roshan, and his fellow Hidden Ones. We get to see him learn the tenets and philosophies that will guide him through his missions, like hiding in plain sight.
Social stealth is making a return. We're bringing back the systemic blending with larger crowds that allow you to move undetected through the business location. But you can also bribe small factions with specific tokens in order to control AI groups and make your way through guarded areas.
As an assassin, your core mission is to track down and eliminate the Order of the Ancients and free Baghdad of their influence. In our game, the Hidden Ones have established a network of bureaus across the city to keep an eye on the Order.
The bureaus in Mirage act as gameplay hubs, from which you can take on side contracts with various objectives, from rescue missions to assassinations, and help the Hidden Ones in their fight for freedom.
We want you to feel truly immersed in the life of a Hidden One, investigating your target's identities, tracking their movements, and sharing information with your allies. Then, when the time is right, you can strike from the shadows. We've crafted a new investigation board which replaces our most recent quest log in Mirage.
And with our black box missions, we give you the freedom to approach key assassination missions however you see fit.
We know how excited our community is. We also have a nice surprise for our long-timers. We implemented a nostalgic visual filter as an option for those who wish to explore the game with a desaturated blue-gray color palette from the very first AC game.
This is a project led by a team of passionate people who have their very own vision of the assassin experience in mind.
There is much to come, and we can't wait to unveil more about Basim's journey.
Being an expert in Islamic arts and a fan myself, it was my chance to leave a unique mark on the game. Inspired by some old Abbasid manuscript, it became clear that the style needed a modern twist. It was like fitting a puzzle with some weird pieces, and it took many trials until we arrived to the ideal crest. Eventually, the translation of the Hidden One, which is Al-Makhfi, emerged as the winner. For the first time, the crest carries a deeper meaning beyond the fantasy setting. Arabic calligraphy and the Arabic language owe their uniqueness and continuity to Islamic civilization. In their reverence for Quran, Arabs developed a lot of writing tools and forms, which led early Muslim artists to stay away from symbols and focus on calligraphy to avoid confusion. While other styles of decoration emerged later, Arabic calligraphy remained the primary and the most expressive element of Islamic art. The development team provided specific texts, which were parts of old poems dating back to the Abbasid era, except for the eagle, in which the famous motto was written, "Then out of the dark, you will come into the light." It was a fascinating exercise in weaving poetry into gameplay, and it was all about striking the balance between history and modernity.
In terms of authenticity, the team went above and beyond to ensure many aspects are authentic. For language, for example, they ensured the correct pronunciation of Arabic words and names and expressions based on recordings I provided to them. Even the names of the members of the Order of the Ancients are based on Arabic and Farsi legends and myths.
Al-Ghul sends orders to the prison guard.
Another example is the Adhan, or the call to prayer, and how it was beautifully recorded by a mu'adhin in a recording booth. Our sincerest thanks to him. The team also consulted with historians, historical experts, and artists to ensure authenticity in not just language, but also religion and art and culture. Working with the production team was and is an experience I will not forget. Usually my involvement with any project is tied to localization and age rating, but this time around I was involved from the very beginning and consulted on multiple topics from religion and culture to poetry and art. The decision to fully localize the game in Arabic was welcomed by the team,
باسم أنت وحدك في هذا.
لا أريد منك أن تغضبي, as it would add an extra layer of immersion and authenticity. not just for Arabic players, so they can hear their native tongue spoken correctly and accurately, but also for non-Arabic players to immerse themselves in the world of Assassin's Creed Mirage.
إذا رآني أحد فسأضطر إلى الفرار. حمداً لله أنني أستطيع أن أسبق أولئك الحراس المتراخين.
A lot of things that we know in modern day science, physics, mathematics, philosophy is built on top of what we've learned from the Abbasid era. Unfortunately, not a lot of people know about this for varying reasons, and we're hoping that this game will spark their curiosity. We hope this will introduce many people to what the Arab world really looked like, and as an Arab, I'm really filled with joy and pride to be part of this project and cannot wait to see everyone's reactions.
Jean-Luc, what do we have in front of us?
We do have the Assassin's Creed Mirage collector case.
I can't wait to do this.
You are the master.
Oh, thank you so much.
Take that!
Wow.
Oh, cool. That's a steelbook.
It was actually a design that was voted by our community.
Fans have a very good taste.
Yeah, because it was my favorite choice too. This is the deluxe version of the game. Players will also be getting the deluxe pack inspired by the Prince of Persia game, which includes the Sand outfit, Eagle and Mount Sand skins, and the Hourglass of Time, Sand Sword, and Dagger of Time. What's next?
Selected game soundtrack.
It's the music you can hear on the streets from players. So it's traditional Arabic music with traditional instruments.
Classic.
Classic 9th century music.
How authentic.
Yeah, so 5 different tracks of those traditional moments.
Next, Assassin's Creed Mirage artbook.
Artbook, yeah. Calligraphy by Atem Arafa. And
Atem's done such a great job.
They have.
Of course, it's one of my favorite parts of the collector's box because it's my team. And this image was made to give the vision to the team.
And as you can see, they always had it in mind that Roshan would always be judging Basim's jumping style.
Roshan is always protecting Basim.
You know what?
Judging?
I mean, protecting, judging, tomato.
Yes, tomato. Think on these words and come back better. Oh, map of Baghdad.
Map of Baghdad, absolutely.
And it's textured too. It feels like it's like not papyrus, but like
and a piece of
leather.
leather.
Like a piece of leather.
Like the old days.
Get your non-authentic leather map here today.
Where were you hidden? This is beautiful. brooch.
That's a brooch of Basim.
Basim's brooch.
You know it well.
Then Basim will have the pleasure of...
May I, my lady?
Please, sir.
The brooch is actually a very important part of Basim's history. So when he was a child at home, his father's an architect, was an architect, and designed the home. When they had to leave, Basim took a, what do you call it?
A ceramic tile, right?
Like a ceramic tile from his house, and turned it into that brooch so he would never forget where he came from and never forget his dad. And I mean, just a detail like that informs a character so much.
And perhaps we do have more.
This comes with the case.
Something else in it. I'm dying to see this one.
All right.
No, this way is better. Pièce de résistance.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
My mom reached out to me when she saw this online and she saw the trailer. She was like, does he look like you?
It does.
And I was like, I don't know, Mom. I don't know if they changed the design or tweaked it.
Unbelievable.
But there are.
Let the audience decide, but I say 100%. Very much. It looks like you. Oh my God, yes.
Right?
Same but smaller.
Uncanny.
He's waiting for us to say that.
Same head size and everything. Like
You're
it's
more handsome.
incredible.
But we're not going to say that.
No, but but it is like, I mean, you've got the brooch here too.
Yeah.
I love the daggers.
Which is what we just saw.
The small daggers.
Nobody will see that, but there is patterns everywhere.
Oh, that's so cool. So there's like patterns under the robes as well.
Yeah.
There's patterns on the blade.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see that, but.
You've done an amazing job, Ubisoft. Thank you.
It's so cool.
So nice to meet you, gentlemen.
Oh, you're leaving? We're leaving. You're gonna walk out.
I have to leave now, my.
Not only does she want the music, but she wants the figurine.
Did you really think I would do this to you?
All right, well, everybody, that is your look at the Assassin's Creed Mirage Collector's Case.
And the game will be out on October 5th.
See you on the streets of Baghdad.